Yeah, you're getting blown the fuck out. What's the first premise, Dodger? Didn't think that far ahead? You didn't think that far ahead?
Okay, so since we're doing that, look, so you're gonna go on mute real quick while I lay out the first premise, okay? That's what we're gonna do, okay? Okay, Eric? I want you to go on mute while I lay out the first premise, okay? Okay, Eric? Hey, are you gonna do that for me, Eric? Eric, are you gonna do that for me? P1. Infinity has a consistent basis to believe he never lies. P2 stasis is something correct. P3 Eric has a consistent background of lying. Conclusion. You lose if my position is correct. So, what's going to be response to P1? I'm sorry. What's the response to P1? Hey, what's the response to P1? I'm sorry? So P1, infinity is always correct and has a consistent basis. Yo, I'm sorry, so what's the response to P1? I'm sorry, so what's the response to P1?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna go no question dodge there. Alright, now let's turn the mic down here.
Yeah, this is just atrocious. So you guys are gonna either take turns or just turn off the loud mics. I don't think anyone can even hear what you guys are even saying right now. So just turn off the loud mics. I'm gonna go pray right now. So at least someone does anyone have the guts to moderate this like shithole conversation while I go pray? Like Sean, can you moderate or something? I'm not the only person with perms here. I'm gonna go pray right now. So yeah, I'm gonna unmute both
Yeah,
of you guys,
I'm
but
way
turn
too
off the
lagging to
loud mics
moderate,
so you
bro.
guys can get
I am
back
way
to the
too lagging to
substance.
moderate.
Fucking hell! Like, if I don't moderate, no one would have the guts to even moderate this conversation. I can't even go pray in the freaking peace or something.
I'm way too laggy to
Damn.
moderate, bro.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess just to kind of note what happened there, Infinity didn't think far ahead enough to do the first premise, and then he started lab lagging. Oh, now you are going to give it.
Is going to be that egoism seems to be true. What's the response?
Egoism seems to be true. All right, now what's the next premise?
The next premise is that you're retarded.
All right, so the next premise is Infinity is retarded. Right now, what's the next
I
premise?
don't think that was the next premise. So can you?
All right, so what's the third premise, Dodger?
So maybe you're not listening. So I have to turn my mic up so you can actually listen, okay? So I don't think that was the third premise that I
What is the third premise?
was that the premise that I said?
Dodgefinity. What's the third premise?
Was that the premise that I said? I'm sorry, was that the premise that I said? I'm sorry, was that the premise that I said? I'm sorry, was that premise?
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting, right? So let's just try again, right? We got to dodge from Dodgefinity. Right, and I just want to explain this for a second. So
Bro, please go low, bro. Please. I'm lagging. Y'all niggas are making me lag right now, bro. Holy shit. Okay, I'm gonna unmute you guys.
yeah, I did want to flag something. So the reason I'm calling him Dodgefinity, that's actually a contraction for dodging infinity. So instead of
P1, egoism is true. P2, you lost. P3, infinity 1. Conclusion, my position is true. So what's the response? So I'm sorry, what was the response? Look, so the reason why I'm not engaging this is John, so can you moderate please? Can you moderate? 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 Yo, I couldn't hear me. Yo, I could know, 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 I could know,
Okay, so look, literally got to go right now. It's you guys basically just need to like do talking sticks, okay? Yeah, I'm coming. So let's see, who want to go first? Is it Infinity or Eric who was like talking first? Cause I can't even understand what you guys are even saying. What points are you guys even on? Let's just really get to the argumentation aspect of this debate. This loud mic and stuff. It's first funny, but it's getting unfunny now. So like, okay, so I'm gonna unmute Eric first. Actually, I'm gonna give someone terms because I can't moderate this, and Tron is I don't know these people. Who can moderate in the chat? Type in the chat if you can moderate this conversation and actually mic up at the same time. Fucking hell. Oh, Archie can moderate. Perfect. Archie can moderate, right? Oh, perfect. Archie's the perfect moderator. Okay, I'm gonna skip him turns. Gotta go right now to go pray. Holy shit. Okay, so I'm gonna move it right now. I'm gonna go pray right now. Holy shit.
Well, hey there. The best mods here. So we're gonna have, Evil Destiny go first. Then after, we're gonna have Infinity respond, and it's gonna be a good faith linear conversation, okay? So yeah, there you go, Eric first.
Hey, how the hell are you? Yeah, I guess I'm really happy to be here right now. I guess you could notice that in the chat, Infinity said, yeah, I'm out. Yeah, you're blown the fuck out, right? Did do particularly well in the conversation. So what Infinity wanted to do, and you could probably notice that he was hedging to try to set this up initially, was to actually try to dodge giving a sound argument for the position, right? And so what he said is, okay, so when you deliver the question, right, let's just make sure here, right? That's going to be a clarifying question, right? And what I said to that is yes, right? And then I deliver a clarifying question, right? Namely, a question about the argument that presumably, right, he has for his position, right? And then I ask what the first premise is, right? And then, he didn't think that far ahead, right? I asked him the question, and it was just a strike, right, out from Infinity there. And then I tried again to get an answer to the question, right? And then what did we get in response to that, right? It was just yet another dodge, right? And then finally we got egoism seems to be true, right? But then after that, he just started giving up. He started trying to give troll premises. It kind of backfired on him because he's a dumb fuck and because he's a retard and because he's been blown the fuck out in this conversation. So yeah, I think he, tried to troll. He delivered an invalid argument for the proposition, and as a result of that, he got blown the fuck out in this conversation. Nobody who's even slightly intelligent will come walking away from this conversation thinking that Infinity has the slightest bit of intelligence, because let's just be honest with ourselves here, he's been stumped with respect to this point, right? And now what I'm going to do is ask the question again, right? Now, presumably you have a sound argument, right? So an argument that's valid and all of its premises are true, that establishes the proposition that you yourself, by the way, selected to defend as the debate proposition, right? And so what is the first premise of the argument? We got egoism seems to be true, then you started trolling, right? So what's the second premise of the non-troll argument, dipshit?
Look, so one, okay, I'm lagging, hold on. Hey, Archie, let me back up, I'm about to rejoin.
Alrighty. Okay. We're gonna invite him to speak. Never mind, Haram SpongeBob joined the VC and flashbang my screen. Okay. He's back up.
Yeah, so let's break it down for the retard. The reason as to why I started quote-unquote loud micing, or in other words, getting louder than you, is because you upped your mic after realizing that you can't actually debate me. So what I wanted to occur was an interesting, entertaining, engaging debate. And I literally said prior that I didn't want to do a Q&A. I understand that you're really bad and you don't know anything. You don't read anything at all. You have no knowledge, so you need help and you want me to amp you. But I'm not here to ask and answer questions, okay? I'm here to refute. Sure, asking questions every now and then is completely fine. But I already know how you debate because you suck. You are a low tier. It's the average low tier squabble. You start with one question and then you go into a second one, a third one, a fourth one. And sometimes you don't even go into the second, third, or fourth one. Sometimes you just ask the same question over and over again and then say that they're dodging while interrupting them, even though they're attempting to answer the question. It's the same method. It doesn't work, Eric. You're not good in this comm. You may be good in your own low tier comm where you have people like Turns and Synth running around, but you're not good in this comm, okay, Eric? So, as I said, I have a reason for my position being true. Not an argument. I never said there existed an argument. I said there was a reason in which is sufficient enough to qualify as justification, at least when it comes to my theory of justification, which a better question to lead off with would be, what is your theory of justification? But guess what? You don't know how to debate. So I'm going to send you Carnati's videos that we can watch together after this, so maybe we can actually, get outside of tier 10 with D1. Yay! Now, as I'm going to say this again, please listen. Egoism seems to be true, and then the backing for that is just off of the consistent accounts it has within society and then intuition. We don't need talking stick, Archie. He can respond now.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of more dumb fuck comments from Infinity. I mean, I noticed you started clapping like an otter there. You just started stimming around. Just calm down there, Buster. Am I right? Right. So I guess what I'm sort of confused on here is what the second premise is supposed to be. I mean, I've kind of delivered the question already to you. It sounded like we got a few more dodges there, and we got some sort of meta posturing, which I don't think anyone here has the slightest bit of interest in. Right? I mean, you said at the beginning that you didn't want to do a Q&A.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do.
Scared.
So we're gonna have to do this again because you're not listening again. So I'm gonna repeat what I said, okay?
Scared Infinity.
What I said was that egoism is something which is backed up by my intuition and then consistent accounts that exist when it comes to explanatory power, at least relative to real-world situations, okay? So that's the argument for the seeming relative to egoism, okay? What's the
I am enforcing dictatorial control in the VC. It is time for linear debating. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna bring out the talking stick. I'm gonna start out with giving it to AES so I can hear him stumble and crumble over his words. I'm not biased. Go ahead, AES.
I'm sorry, you do realize that there wasn't a single stutter on my end.
Yeah, AES.
that shit was not
Your
rhetorical.
mic was too loud, now it's too quiet. Make it something in the middle.
Yo, hello, bro.
There you go.
Simp, I don't know why you joined dick riding as if I
To help
stutter
you!
every single time.
To help you in this debate by enforcing a
Yo, so Archie, are you gonna mod, please? Because I don't know why
over
he's up
the
here.
control of violence in this VC.
Ma'am,
So
is it
here-
okay, ma'am? Is it okay if Infinity?
Look, I don't know what this thing is doing, but can you please
Don't
move
address
this
me, address
alien
people
down?
that's
Like,
Address people that's
Ma'am, Infinity needs to give his.
Wait, do I get the response or not, or is Dodge Finity gonna?
wait, I'm sorry. So what was the response to what I said?
I'm sorry. So what was the stutter?
I'm sorry. What was the response to what I said?
That was the stutter, right? What's the second premise, dipshit? I asked you the question
This
first.
nigga is so corny.
Oh,
I'm
you're
sorry.
gonna turn the
When did
loud
I
mic back on, dipshit? Yeah, go ahead. Turn the loud mic back
When
on.
was
What's the
the
second premise?
response given?
Another stutter. What's the second premise, dipshit?
When did I stutter? Wait, when you got
Infinity, what's
imaginary
the
stutters
second
doesn't work.
premise? What's the second
When
premise?
you got imaginary
Infinity?
stutters does
What's
not
the
work.
second premise, Infinity?
Hey, make
That's
a
your
poll.
Dodge,
Did I
right?
stutter,
It sounds
chat?
like you're
Make a
terrified of this
poll.
conversation.
Did
Okay.
Infinity stutter?
So guys, what's the question on the table here, Infinity? What do you want him to answer?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say it for a fifth time because maybe he's not tracking due to his assness. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm gonna make that up. Assness. You fucking suck, retard. The response, or I apologize, the question that I asked was the following. What's the response that you have to the argument that I gave? Or I apologize.
Infinity,
The point that I gave. Deep chat? You said my mic is cutting out.
Wait. Yeah, your mic's cut out. But I just want to be clear. Wait, what question do you want him to answer?
Yeah, I want him to answer the question, which is the following. What's the response to the point that I gave? Now, I'm not going to repeat it, by the way, because you're supposed to be a good debater, right? What's the response, Eric?
Yeah, anyways, yeah, that was a...
point.
Yeah, anyway.
I'm sorry, is that the response?
There. So notice how I asked my question first, and then Infinity is absolutely crying that I'm not responding to his irrelevant derail point. That's very interesting, right? And this is sort of a thing that low-tier debaters try to do. I mean, he was talking about low tiers earlier. Here's something that low tiers very commonly do, right? You'll ask them a question, and then what do they do in response? They ask their own irrelevant dumb fuck derail question that's not actually answering the question that you've already put on the table.
Look, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to ask AES directly. AES.
Okay, one,
Right, you
move
see the
some
question
down.
not being answered.
Secondly, so Eric, maybe you're not listening, okay? I already
You just fucking say the question you have. Nobody wants to hear this for another 3 hours. It was funny for the first half, but like do something different. Just tell them the question you want answered.
I'm sorry, one, you don't have to be here. If you don't find it entertaining, leave. Secondly, you do realize that he just went on an entire rant fest. I'm sorry, so why was I muted, but he's
back
not
on the
muted?
rails. Just ask your question. Stop being super gay.
By the way, I do want to
The
flag
actual discussion.
real quick. I did hear the question, but all I'm saying is it's an irrelevant question.
I'm sorry, wait, just to be clear. Wait, I'm sorry, just to be clear, Archie, can you please mute him?
Sorry, retard.
I'm sorry, can you
Sorry,
please mute him?
retard.
I'm sorry, so why was I muted, but
Sorry,
he isn't
retard. I know you want me muted. Yeah, you're.
We're gonna do it. This is what we're gonna do, right? So, Evil Destiny, you've heard his question, right? answer that question, then shoot your own question, just so we can make some fucking progress. This shit is so gay.
Yeah, so what I said is I'm not willing to answer his
Yo,
question.
I ain't gonna lie.
He answered
One,
mine,
bro,
which I
why
asked
is-
first, because his question is just a derailed question, right? So what I care about is the dialectic.
Why is
being
Simp on
linear,
the stage?
right? And
This nigga's just
something
here
that
to
sort
prove
of
views, bro.
non-linearizes
You are doing
the dialectic
nothing.
is when he
We're
asks
not
his own
debating. You already have
You're
it.
not
derailing,
debating.
sorry,
People
here
derailing,
want
irrelevant,
We don't
dumb
need you.
fuck
Real
dipshit
quick,
question
quick.
from the
Let's
retard,
just
right?
let Erik finish. Wait, what were you saying? Your like mic was cutting, or not cutting out, but like you're.
Yeah, sorry, the point I was making is just, what my response is to his point is irrelevant, because all we're trying to do right now is figure out what the second premise is of the sound argument that he presumably has. Right now, he might just claim that he doesn't have a sound argument, right? In which case, I'm happy to go down whatever kind of derail pathway that he wants to go down, right? I'm happy to even get Q&A'd myself for an argument against the pro-choice proposition, right? But at the moment of the conversation, right, he was giving a sound argument. He even gave the first premise of it. It would be very strange for him to give the first premise of the sound argument if he didn't take the view that he had a sound argument, right? So what we're trying to investigate is what the second premise is. And what we're seeing right now is this rabid fucking dog, right, trying to throw out his own irrelevant
All right,
question.
that's
And the
Wait, so-
reason...
I just wanna
enough slandering AES with these fucking totally baseless accusations of being rabid. AES. Okay.
Okay, bro, I ain't gonna lie.
Clearly,
Sim, I understand what you're trying to do. Please go
without
down.
the sound.
Now,
Look, if you
anyways,
wanna
as a
have-
quick
I don't know what you're
response,
talking
I'm
about.
sorry.
That. So look, here's the simple thing we can do to just make some sort of progress so there can be a debate. AES, right? He wants you to just lay out the argument. Just you were making an argument, that is true. So without him interrupting you, lay out your argument and then ask your question.
Bro, this is the most obvious, biased fucking mod I've ever seen in my life. You let him ramble for fucking 20 years. I can't even respond to the Ramble Fest. Anyways,
Just
back to my
hurry
point
it
before this
up.
random
Oh
person
my
started
God,
moderating.
the crying.
Look,
Wait,
yo,
is
Mr.
it a cry
Mute
fest?
him, mute him.
Fine,
Archie,
fuck
please
it.
mute him.
Scream at each other
Archie,
more.
please
Scream
mute
at each
him.
other
Archie,
more.
please mute him.
All right,
Archie,
listen,
please mute
I
him.
got you.
Mute both of them.
I got you.
Please,
I got you.
mute both of them. I don't know who invited this dude.
I got you.
Mute both of them.
But right now,
Okay, thank you.
I think that
So
this looks
one,
good for
I
the-
already gave P2. I'm not about to hold your hand through the conversation. I'm not gonna keep on repeating it, retard. Okay? If you want me to repeat it, I want you to beg. I want you to beg. Tier 10 master. Okay? I'm not gonna repeat it again.
Okay.
Respond to the point. I already answered your question.
Wait, no.
Oh,
So
shit,
wait,
this is
what he was saying, Infinity, was that even though like he understands it seems important to you, he feels as though it's off point because at the moment he's not entirely sure on what exactly your argument is. So he's just trying to get some clarity on like what it is. I think right now he's like confused on what premise to choose.
Yeah, I understand that. The entire point is that I repeated P2 8 times, but he couldn't understand that because he kept on talking.
Because you were
talking and
both
talking and
loud-micing,
talking,
nobody understood
rambling.
you. Stop
Please
being
mute him.
autistic.
I said it when I was loud micing, idiot Simp. Stop talking. You're
you don't
making him
want a
look
debate.
worse than he
You just
actually
don't wanna have a
is.
debate.
Simp, you're not. Stop.
You're doing a terrible job.
Stop.
You're
One,
doing
I
terrible.
already
Just do the
responded to the
debate.
question he had, which was the following.
You gotta do
What
the
is
debate.
P2 of the argument? I already responded to that. And then secondly, I
Oh,
gave
shit.
P2 even though I didn't even say I was going to give an argument in the first place. I said I was going to give a reason.
You said you're gonna give a reason.
So Sim,
When you
stop
give a
talking.
reason for
Nobody
losing,
wants you here,
you're
okay,
fucking
Sim?
autist.
Go down. Nobody wants to talk to you, Sim. You already lost
Who
the
are
free
you
to go.
talking
Stop
about?
talking to me.
Look, here's what we're gonna do. You are going to now address the argument, or you're gonna stay on fucking mute and Evil Destiny's gonna ramble over you. Evil Destiny's now unmuted. Right? That was just being unbiased. Now we are gonna be biased because you in particular are the one holding up the fucking discussion.
Wait.
Just lay out your argument. That's it.
Yeah. Wait.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, Archie, please stop letting this nigga talk. He's not saying anything. And then secondly, he told me to respond to an
Yeah,
argument.
sure.
There was no argument given. Erik didn't give a single argument. That's how I know Simp isn't tracking.
You're being asked to give the argument.
Yeah, you told me to respond to the argument. There was no argument given. I already gave an argument, idiot. Go down.
He's not even tracking the moderation. He's not even tracking the moderation. He's not even...
Archie, meet him real quick.
Real quick.
Okay.
So just to be clear, you said you haven't given the argument yet. Okay. Well, like on his screen, he feels as that's the argument. So now that we're on track, they feel like you haven't. Do you want to like maybe like recapitulate like what you felt the argument was, or maybe give a new argument? Or, like,
Wait, I'm sorry.
what you
Wait,
felt
hold on. Wait, Sim, can you tell me the justification I gave for P1? Or I apologize. Can you tell me what I said in response to his question
Oh,
about
he
what
wants a new
P2
debate
was?
now. He wants a new debate because he's
Wait,
not
mute
very
Erik,
comfortable with the
mute
current one.
Erik,
Oh, mute him.
So, since you want so much,
Mute him,
hold on,
mute
wait,
him,
Erik,
guys,
hold
mute
on,
him,
Erik,
mute
chill real
him.
quick. Erik, chill real quick. Erik, chill real quick. So, Sim, since you want my attention so bad, okay, can you tell me the response I gave to his
Nobody
question?
here wants to
Wait,
hear this.
let's
Give
not-
your argument.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, so Sim, what was the response that I gave to his
Right.
question since you want my attention so
Nobody
bad?
here wants to hear this. Give the
Right.
argument.
Listen, forgive Synth. She was came
Anyways.
on stage. She was being a drooler. happens, it happens.
Hey, Mark,
Right
what
now,
did I miss
Erik
out
is
on?
just-
I just came back.
So maybe I need to say it louder. Sim, can you tell me the response?
Hey, who's
What is this?
Hey, I just came back from. What did I miss out on? Basically,
No.
Did they
Right now, they're
finally
just
get
trying to like
instructions or-
establish what the argument is. But right now, Infinity actually clarified that apparently that wasn't the argument he was giving. So right now, I just thought it'd probably be more productive if you could generate
Okay,
like
so I'm
an
just gonna be
argument.
here.
Or
I'm
if
gonna be here
not,
for
then
the
Erik
entire
could
time.
clarify what exactly. he
Also,
wants,
I do
like,
want to make a
Infinity to
comment.
do.
He said, real quick, if I could make a comment real quick. He said he
Unmute
did give the
Infinity, by
second
the way,
premise,
hold on,
but when
I'm
I
just
asked him earlier what the second premise was, he said, "You're retarded and you're lost." So it was clear that he wasn't genuinely delivering the second premise. So
Just
what
to
I
be
want to figure
clear,
out, whoa,
I said that because that's true. You are retarded and lost. But I also, alongside that,
Okay,
gave
so-
P2.
Calm
Hold on.
down,
Okay,
Infinity.
so-
Calm down, Infinity.
Let's do it. Okay, so
So
hold
what's
on.
the
Just to be clear, before we
response to P2?
Infinity, guys, relax. Okay, so basically, since you guys are having this very
Wait,
interruptive
okay, bro,
conversation,
Apollo, I understand what you're trying to
just
do, but
hold on,
please move Sim down.
hold
I'm
on.
not even trying to cut you off,
Infinity,
Apollo.
we're gonna do a talking stick. Okay, so when
Move
you're
Sim
talking,
down. He is perm abusing.
He's so terrified of me
oh,
speaking.
I've taken.
I'm
taken
terrified
Sim's
because I'm
turn.
trying to get the correct mod.
Look,
How am I
Infinity,
terrified as
don't
I'm
worry about
desperately
it. I've
asking people to get moved
Infinity.
out?
Yeah, so just to be clear in this, Infinity, I've taken Sim's
Yes, I
turn.
want
That's the
people who
word
are
for
relevant to the debate to be
second
moved down.
Sim,
Yes.
Infinity, your mic is much louder than mine, so just let me talk, okay? What I'm saying here is simply that in this debate moving forward, what I'm going to do here is when you're talking, Erik does not have the privilege to interrupt your point and vice versa.
Wait,
So
no,
you
I
guys
don't
both
care about
take
that. He
hands
can
with it.
interrupt me all he wants. I'm louder than him. Move
No,
Sim
I'm
down.
saying he cannot, once I'm here, he cannot interrupt you.
No.
my
We don't
server.
need
What
talking
is he
stick.
gonna
He can
do?
attempt to interrupt
Yeah,
me.
let's
He
do
can't
talking
interrupt me.
stick.
He can't do shit. He can't do it to me either way. Even if you were still playing, he can't interrupt me. He can't do anything. He sucks.
No, I think,
Good, you won.
I
Yeah,
think
congrats.
I think Apollo's
Wow,
saying
congrats.
because of
Wow.
the fact that he doesn't really have like the faculties to overtalk, it might be more lenient if it's like a
If
talking
that makes
stick.
Infinity's night better, that's fine. Cool.
I'm
Still,
lagging
let's do
so
talking
bad.
stick. Okay, let's do talking
But
stick.
can we move Sim down?
Sure.
No, we're good. We don't need talking stick. But can we move Sim
I'll
down?
mute synth down. Just do the argument.
If synth is an impediment
I don't know,
towards your
bro. I already
debate,
gave
then
the
that's
argument.
fine.
No,
He's
it's fine. She's down.
Okay, so let's
you-
continue. Me and Arch are going to be here to moderate this conversation moving forward.
no
So
problem.
who is
Just
going
what you wanted.
first? What's the
But
point
what's the
you guys
response
are
to
on?
P2, Erik?
Wait.
Yeah, what's
Could
the
I just-
second premise?
Okay, got you.
I'm sorry. Did you not hear the second premise after I repeated it 10 times?
Sorry. I'm not interested in the
I'm sorry. Did you not hear the second premise even though I repeated it?
Sorry. Right, what I'm interested in is what the second premise actually is, right? Because presumably the second premise of the argument, right, isn't something like you're lost, right? Now, what is the second premise of the argument, right, where you're not kind of trying to evade and dodge? Dipshit.
Look, I don't understand the language you're using. Maybe evading and
Yeah, it's
dodging
because you're
is in
retarded, that's why.
translation for. I'm sorry. So why is he speaking? Oh yeah, thank you, moderator. But look, I'm going to translate it for you. By me evading, you mean me telling you P2 10 times, and now you want to hear for an 11th time to actually stall and come up with a response? I'm sorry. What's the response to P2? If you didn't track, just say that. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so when I say you're dodging, right, the claim is just that you're giving a troll second premise instead of the actual one, dipshit. Right, so it just sounds like you're not really tracking, not only the substance, but also the meta commentary that I delivered, and it sounds like you're also not answering the question. But that's fine, right? If you insist, right,
Do
we'll
you
make the
think this-
second premise.
Is that a
Sorry. We'll make the second premise the troll premise. That's great. All right, so then you want the third premise to be.
Wait, do you think this is the response?
All right, now what's the fourth premise? If you want to go with the troll premises, dipshit.
Yeah, let's
What's the
conclude.
fourth premise, dipshit? You want to run away? Yeah, we can conclude. What's the fourth premise?
Nothing about moved down.
Yeah, let's conclude. You haven't tracked anything.
Okay, so the fourth premise is let's conclude. All right, now what's the fifth? Let's conclude.
Wait, I'm sorry.
All
You
right,
think
so
that's
the
the
fifth
fourth
premise
premise?
is okay. So the fifth premise is I'm sorry. Now what's the sixth?
Wait, you think let's conclude is something that can be a premise?
That's a question, retard. What's the sixth premise?
Wait, I'm sorry. Do you think let's conclude is something that can be a premise?
That was another question. Right now, wait, yes.
Correct.
No, I'm kidding.
Yes,
Okay, wait,
correct.
what's-
That's a question.
No,
Wait,
I'm
so
kidding.
are you so? Hold on. Wait. Just to be clear, what was the answer to the question?
Yeah, what's the sixth premise, dipshit?
I'm sorry, what was the answer
What's
to the
the
question?
sixth premise, dipshit? Don't dodge
I'm sorry,
the
what was the
question. Right, I
answer to
asked
the
you what the
question
fourth
that I
premise
asked?
was, and you said, let's conclude. That's what you said, idiot.
I'm sorry, do you think that was supposed to be a response to your shitty question?
Wait, I'm sorry, do you think
Why
that's
would I
supposed to
answer
be
your question if you're dodging mine?
You're just not even tracking what's going on in this conversation. Right, and you're asking derail questions, I'm asking relevant questions, right?
I'm
That's
sorry.
going to be the difference. Yeah, you are sorry, because you've been bitched. You've been bitched into submission. Right? I'm sure you're sorry for playing you things after this conversation. Right, so I asked you what the fourth premise was, right? You said, let's conclude. And then you said,
I
oh, well, do you
understand
think
what
let's
you asked.
conclude is a premise? Obviously, isn't a fucking premise, dipshit. That's why you dodged the question, right? Right, presumably, that wasn't an answer to the question, right? So let's try to get the sixth premise, right, of the sound argument that you claimed you had, right? So what's the sixth premise?
This nigga is so corny.
Yeah, the reason you're moaning in this
Already
conversation
gave
is
the
because
premises. Can you respond? Can you respond? Can you respond? I'm sorry, what was the response?
wait, sorry, is this the entirety of the argument? What you've given so far?
Wait, what was the response?
Is this the argument you've given so far, yes or no?
You're stumbling over yourself while
Sorry,
trying to
is
mimic
this
me.
the argument so far, yes or no? Right, so that's a dodge, right? So is this the argument so far, yes or no? So that's a dodge, right? So is this the argument so far, yes or no? Alright, so that's 1. So that's 4.
Wait. Alright, let's just get clear on something. I think this will make it like a lot more linear. So, like, right now what's on his screen, Infinity, do you think that's like your argument? If not, you could like re-clarify and make some like... Yeah.
Bro, I said it was my argument 20,000 times. He's not tracking. I told him my justification. I told him my motivation as well as my justification. And then additionally, I even told him my argument. I gave him an argument, which he didn't track, even though I didn't even agree to give an argument. I gave an argument.
No, I was just asking, do you think like...
So
this
wait, before, hold on, Archie, before you unmute Eric, I just want to get clear
No,
on
the
a couple of
premises
things.
typed out are not the premises that I named other than P1.
Okay, cool. So hold on. So just to be clear on this, right? So you say basically that the argument that Eric has on his screen, that's not your argument, correct? That's a straw man, right?
Yo, your mic is
Infinity, can you hear me?
cutting out.
Am I bugging out?
No. Wait. I think...
Oh, it's Infinity's
I think
mic.
you may have to go down and... What the?
Wait, Archie, is it my
You
mic's
there?
fault or
Yo,
is
what's up, man?
Infinity's mic?
No.
Which one is it?
No, it's. I think everyone's good now. So just to, like Apollo
Okay,
asked
cool.
you. So right there, what's on his screen? Like that's not your argument. That's a straw man. Yeah. All right. Real quick. Wait, just real quick. What's on Eric? What's on Eric's stream? Like you consider this like not your argument, like besides P1, right?
Yup.
All right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
what you're gonna do here, just moving forward, Archie, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna basically tell Eric to let's just start over fresh, right? So that's not his argument.
Yeah.
Let's not go into this meta derail where you basically try to gain rhetoric points, and all of that bullshit, that rhetorical posture bullshit. So we're gonna just basically delete that argument and just start over fresh. So Infinity is clarifying for both me and Eric and the audience that that's not his argument. So we're gonna start over, Eric. So we're going to unmute Eric, and then Eric, you can start over by trying to formulate his argument, and from there we can have a substantive conversation.
Right, yeah, he
Archie?
said the first premise. Yeah, he says he's keeping the first premise, so let's just start with the second. What's the
Okay,
second premise,
yeah.
Aesthetic? That's a dodge. That's a dodge.
I'm sorry, it's a dodge because I didn't respond yet.
Question. That's a dodge to the question. What's the second premise, Infinity?
I already told you P2. Do you want me to hold your hand through the conversation?
Oh, wait, sorry, I thought it wasn't the argument that you delivered except the first premise, so you're walking that back.
Wait, maybe
Fall
you're
backwards,
retarded or
walking that
something,
back.
but me telling you
Sorry, yes
P2
or no?
doesn't entail that you
Sorry,
actually
yes
tracked
or no?
P2.
Sorry, yes or no?
Me telling you
That's a
P2 doesn't mean that you
dodge, right, so
actually understood
yes
what I
or
said.
no? Alright, so that's a dodge. Alright, so yes or
So
no.
look, the justification for egoism is going to be off of a seeming and then off of the intuition. The seeming is going to be the account that it has
Yeah,
relative to its
talk about
explanatory
philosophy. I'm
power.
not very good at it. Is the answer yes or no to the question I just asked?
I'm sorry, so what was the response to what I just said?
Alright, so that's a dodge, right? So is the answer to the question yes or no?
Wait, Archie, you heard what I just said,
Alright,
right?
so that's a dodge, right? So is the answer to the question
Yeah,
that's
but
previously
wait,
yes or
just
no?
to be clear, I think
I'm sorry. So what's the response to the seeming?
Yeah, you are sorry, right? What is the answer? Yes or no, Dodger?
Yeah, I think right now we're
Okay,
just trying
look.
to
So I'm gonna say this
clarify.
once again. Pro-choice is most in line with egoism. Egoism is going to be motivated / justify off of the intuition and the seeming that it has when it comes to
Wait,
explain.
just hold on. Real quick, I think Eric's just concerned with, at the moment, with what P2 is. But if you feel like that's not relevant, you could like explain it. But I think that right now is the table. What's on the table?
Yeah, so what's the second premise, right? He said he can repeat it, but what he
Yeah, I
said was
understand what
something
he
that
deems to be
wasn't part of
relevant,
his argument.
but like you said, I don't think that's relevant currently because I've already answered the question. Okay, but I'm sorry. Where at all did I say I was even going to be giving an argument? Even though I did give an argument, but where did I even say I was going to be giving an argument? What's the response to the point that I gave? At least the justification for pro-choice.
What's the second premise, Dodger?
Wait, okay, Archie. Just to be clear, because I'm pretty sure you've been here since the start. Mute him real quick.
Filibustering Frank.
I'm sorry. Can you please mute him? Thank you. So, Archie, can you please unmute as well? I have a question. Is it not the case that the topic we both established in VC is whether or not I have a sufficient reason to believe, or I apologize, to be pro-choice? Was that not the topic? Does the reason I have qualify as justification? Was that not the topic?
Like the initial thing you said, I agree that was the topic. I think right now, like, Eric's just concerned with what P2 is, but you had to respond by saying that, like, you already gave it. And
yes, I understand what he's concerned about. I'm concerned about his retardation, as I've already given
each other.
an argument.
Hold on, Infinity, what's happening? Hold on. Give me 1 second. Arch, what's happening here is simply that, of course, Eric is asking for the premise 2 of the argument, the deductive argument, but Infinity is not given premise 2, he's given the justification for premise 1.
No, I know.
Right? They're talking past each other in that sense. Now, here's what we're going to do moving forward. So it's very obvious that Infinity does not want to play into Eric's stylistical shtick. He doesn't want to play into like his little script, as you want to call it. So I'm going to ask you this, Infinity. Do you want to give like an argument where you state all the premises individually, or do you want to just basically give like a argument which is not formalized? Like, what's your approach moving forward? Because
I'm giving an informal
this is not going to progress the conversation.
I'm giving an informal argument already. He's not responding to the informal argument that I gave.
Okay, so you insist on giving an informal argument, but Eric insists on formalizing that informal argument, correct?
Is he lagging or me?
I'm lagging?
No.
No, you're not lagging.
Yes, no, you're correct. No, I'm lagging.
Can you hear me now? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Audible.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, just to clarify, before I unmute Eric, you insist on giving an informal argument while Eric insists on formalizing this argument, correct? Hello? He's on mute. I'll just unmute Eric in the meantime.
No, he's unmuted.
Okay. Because if that's the case, I can just formalize Infinity's argument.
No, Infinity got moved down. Wait, hold on. Let me bring him back
To be
up.
clear, right?
Oh,
I'm
move him
fine
down.
with giving an
I had no
informal
idea.
argument, right? I just wanted to
Look, it's probably Sim trolling or something. But look, to
Yeah, so
respond to your
Infinity,
question,
I was just
Apollo,
asking you.
yes.
Yeah, I was just asking you
Yes,
basically,
that is the case.
Okay, gotcha. So just give your informal argument, just articulate the argument or the justification you have for your position, and then me or Eric can just formalize that argument for you, okay? And then we can just get to the
Look, I can
substance.
formalize it if I really want to, but I'm not here to hold his hand. As I said, pro-choice is best in line
You don't
with
have to
my normative
formalize
position.
it. That's fine. You don't have to do that.
My normative, bro, can I finish, nigga? Okay, so my normative position is obviously going to be backed off of the seeming and then the intuition I have, and then the seeming is just talking about accounts of explanatory power relative to real-world situations. What's the response?
Okay, so Eric, did you track all of that what he just said? And if so, we can just put like a basic modus ponens argument, and then from there on, you attack each individual premises. He references Siemens and explanatory power to justify his position. So we can just put this together in the modus ponens because he doesn't want to formalize the argument, and you insist on formalizing the argument. So yeah, let's go. Eric.
So we're gonna say, if the pro-choice view accommodates the retard's intuitions.
I'm sorry, I don't think that's what I said.
then, and all I mean by the retards...
I'm sorry, I don't think that's what I said.
All I mean by the retards is infinities.
That's not even close to what I said. I never said anything about pro-choice being something that's motivated by my intuition. Can you track? Did anybody ever hear me say intuitive justifications what I'm using for pro-choice?
Sorry, what was the conclusion of the argument?
Wait, I'm sorry, is the type random stuff? I got that, hold on.
Sorry, what was the conclusion of the argument that you're delivering, dipshit? Yeah, it's not rhetorical. What's the conclusion of the argument you're delivering, dipshit?
I don't know.
Right, so now if the conclusion of the argument, so if what you were giving an argument for was egoism there, right, which I charitably interpret you as not doing that, I charitably interpret you as giving an argument for the pro-choice view, right, then...
I'm not giving an argument for egoism. I'm giving an argument as to why I hold to a seeming relative to egoism. As I said.
Sorry, I was interested in you giving an argument for the debate proposition. Right now, the debate proposition
I'm sorry.
is just
Can you...
this, right? And this is a debate proposition Infinity signed off on. Infinity's reason for being pro-choice fits the criteria for justification, right? So this person is so retarded, right? I'll just end this for a second. They agreed to this fucking debate proposition, right? So now what we're doing is getting a sound argument for that proposition. Right now, what we got there was something like an Infinity ramble, right? Where he said, oh, you didn't track what I said. And then it turned out by him claiming that I didn't track what he said, right? He was just saying something irrelevant, right? Now, let's just try getting an answer to the question, right? What is the first premise of the argument, right? And it can be an informal argument. Informal arguments have fucking premises, moron.
Wait, I'm sorry. What's the argument as to why what I said was unsound?
Sorry, retard. I didn't claim it was unsound, dipshit. Right, what's the first premise?
Is it the case that what I said is unsound? Because I already gave justification for each premise.
I don't take a view. Right, and the reason I don't take
I'm not here to hold your hand. I already gave the informal justification, which is the debate topic, by the way.
Give you, right, it's because it's not even clear what the inference is, right? So what's the first premise of the inference, dipshit?
I'm sorry, I don't understand why I keep being muted when I was the one who was speaking. Can you please mute him? For some reason, he's allowed to interrupt me, but I can't interrupt him even though it was my turn to speak. Yeah, thank you. So I already gave the informal justification. I'm not here to hold your hand, as I've said, like 4 times now? So what's the response to the informal justification? If you can't track or do anything outside your script, you can say that, but don't embarrass yourself by repeating the same question. The script doesn't work on people who already beat you, okay? So I'm going to say this again. The script doesn't work in this community, okay? Maybe against low tiers like Shikio or something like that, but not against me. So what's the response to the informal justification I gave? I actually gave 2 types of informal justification, okay? What's the response to both of them?
Oh shit, he said the script doesn't work. No, I'm just gonna not ask the question anymore. What's the first premise?
The script isn't asking a question.
You were like desperately trying to get me not to repeat the question. I'm sorry, do you think that would work against me? Oh, the script doesn't work. Oh, nice try, retard. What's the first premise? Come on.
I'm kidding, by the way, Shikio, I love you. But 1, the script isn't asking questions. How do you not even know your own script? The script is repeating questions and then saying that I dodged because when I try to answer the question, you either cut me off or you ignore the answer, okay? That doesn't work. So what's the response to the informal justification I gave? Asking for a formalized version of the argument, even though I told you I'm not going to abide by your request, isn't going to be something which rhetorically upscales you. Nobody thinks you're winning, okay?
Holy fucking shit, wait, I figured out why you named yourself Infinity. It's because you have the talent of rambling infinitely, saying an infinite amount of retarded shit, and infinitely fucking dodging. Holy fuck, what's the first premise? Cool. Don't run away. What are you doing?
So cool.
What's happening?
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Premise?
You gotta go to ChatGPT.
Oh, and then you lie, What's the first premise? What's the first premise? What's the first premise, Infinity?
Responses.
Dodge the question. I need to dodge the question.
Ask ChatGPT this, bro. Please, bro. That was the worst rhetorical response.
It's getting a little rowdy. Okay. So, listen. Alright. It seems Eric's asking for the first premise. Do you have any grievances with such?
Yeah. So he can ask whatever he wants. But I already gave the informal justification. And look, Apollo, did we not discuss how I was going to give some type of informal argument or informal justification, and then you may potentially formalize it, even if you don't formalize it? Is it not the case that you create?
For example,
Apollo, hold on. Eric, no. So you seem to have a lot of questions, but let me engage in this Q&A real quick. I have a question for you. So, Diddy, is it not the case that you can understand arguments that are not formal? Is your skill limited? Wait, why is it the case that my sensory ability is telling me that you're going above 20?
Right, stop dodging the question.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, now he's...
Why is it the case that my sensory ability is telling me you're going above 20 dB? Why is my sensory ability telling me you're going above 20 dB? Why is my sensory ability...
He gets it backing right now. Now Infinity...
Okay, so Archie, good job right there. Yeah, I like that, Archie. That's good. So let's just get things back on track because it's becoming an ape fest. So just relax, guys. So yes, Erik. So he's not going to give a formalized argument. Yeah, what's up?
I was such a tough moderator.
Give me a sec. Okay, so now Erik. So he's not going to give a formalized argument. He's going to articulate this argument in natural language, and so as if already shook hands on previously, you just do the formalization for him. So even if he articulates the argument in a way where it comes out as formally invalid, you're going to basically formalize the argument in a way where it becomes valid, and then from there on, you substantively attack each individual premises and the connection between the premises and the conclusion. So that's kind of like how it's going to go from moving forward, because this whole what's premise one, what's premise two, is not going to really progress this debate in any meaningful fashion whatsoever, which is going to actually create any productivity. So let's just unmute both of these guys, and then hopefully we can get onto some actual substance. Right?
Yeah, by the way...
I'm sorry, can we get a quick unban on Mono and Shikio?
But, when I'm asking him what their first premise
is... You said what, sorry?
Amp the retard real quick. Can we get a quick unban on Mono and Shikio?
Right, I'm just fine with him saying something that just sounds like it would be the first
thank
premise
you.
of the
Let me know when you unban
and
it.
then we can make it formally valid together, right, since he doesn't know any logic, presumably. Right, so now let's kind of decipher your loose cloud of thoughts, right, just say what the first premise is. It doesn't have to be formally valid, I'll make it valid for you, right, what is the first premise, Infinity? And if you're going to dodge it, then...
You are unironically one of the worst debaters I've ever seen in my life.
Probably haven't seen many then. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can conclude...
Let me know when you unban Shikio and Mono.
I mean, you've been blown the fuck out here. I think you've been curb stomped.
By the way, the reason why he's not loud anymore is because he's not confident. The reason why he's not confident is because the script has been defeated. We're not abiding by his script, so he's not loud anymore. That's why he's whispering.
He did it,
Your
guys!
whispering's not rhetorical. I can do that as well.
Oh my god! He did it! He did it!
No,
oh, he did it! What?
Alright. So let's try that again. Just a little lower, please. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess,
So script 1 is defeated. Let's move on to the second script. Go ahead.
Fucked in this debate.
I'm sorry, what's the response to the informal justification I gave?
What's the response to my ramble? What's the response?
I ain't gonna lie, that shit was ass as fuck.
Also,
Doing that while I have a better mic than you doesn't work.
Wait, I actually was gonna say, like, your mic is a little bit, like, peaking at a certain end, so it's a bit hard to hear what you're saying.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Alright. Is Shikio unbanned, bro? Unban Mono too.
Infinity. While I've ended my stream, I sort of have a delivery for you, Infinity. What premise do you deny? Huh? What premise do you deny, Infinity? There's a delivery, What premise do you deny? Delivery for Infinity. Delivery for Infinity. Delivery for Infinity. Delivery for Infinity. What premise do you deny? What premise do you deny?
Alright. Well, I mean, yeah. So, like, did you see the syllogism that he sent in chat?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, you gotta stop, Erik. You're a grown-ass man cosplaying as someone from Nebraska. Well, actually, hold on. Let me confirm this. Where is Destiny from? Hold on.
Wait, do it just real quick. Did you see what he had sent in chat?
Wow. Oh my, you're a grown-ass man cosplaying as someone from Nebraska. No.
Alright.
Bro, Destiny, what's the response to the informal justification I gave? Go ahead.
Wait, actually.
Like, this is bad.
Alright, sure. Actually, did you see, like, the
Is this the response?
Wait, yeah, he was asking, like, if you had, like, any issue with any other premises.
What's the argument for P1?
Yeah, I've delivered it, dipshit.
I'm asking where, retard, which is why I asked what it was.
I just gave an argument for the first premise, idiot. You're not even tracking.
Where at, idiot?
In the fucking chat, idiot.
This is the argument?
Moron.
Yeah, A2 is the argument for P1 of A1. Fucking moron. Well, now you're stuttering. And now you're cold laughing.
Wait, what's the argument for P2?
It's analytically true, dipshit. It's part of the definition.
I'm not talking about the argument of... Yo, maybe you're retarded. We're not talking about this P2. We're talking about the original arguments P2. What's the argument for P2 here?
Yeah, I already have an argument for that, asshole. There.
Then send it, retard!
Yeah, I just said it, fucking idiot. Under internet's dog shit, it takes fucking forever for an argument to load, for fucking text to load. Yeah, what premise do you reject for A3? Fuck.
What? Ain't gonna lie, that shit was ass.
What premise do you reject at A3? Totally real laugh from infinity. What premise do you reject?
Okay, so go ahead and justify P1.
Yeah, okay, I'll give an argument for that. There you go. Dumb fuck.
This nigga is talking in silence.
What premise do you reject at A4?
What's the argument for P1?
For P1 of A4? Explain it. Explain it, Infinity.
What's the argument
what
for
P1
P1?
is saying. Explain it. You're asking for an
what's the
argument.
argument for
Explain
P1?
it. Explain it, Infinity. Explain it. Infinity, explain it. Not an argument. Explain it. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
What's the argument for P1?
He doesn't know.
What's the argument for P1?
Explain it.
Argument for
Explain
P1?
it.
What's the argument for P1?
Explain it.
Okay. So, like, it seems just asking for like the argument for P1. If you feel it's like obviously like redundant, you can explain why. But
yeah, well, I think explaining the reasoning might not even be enlightening to him, right? Because it's not even clear that he understands what the first premise is saying, right? So what I'm looking for is for him to explain what the first premise is saying, right?
I'm sorry, even if it's the case and I don't understand. Hold on, let me fix my mic.
Explain it.
Yeah, so
Explain
even if it is the case that I don't understand P1, I can still request an argument for P1, retard.
Explain it. No one's denying that you can request an
I'm sorry,
argument for
what's the
premise. You don't
argument for
understand, fucking moron. Explain it.
But then why bring it up? What's the relevance in
Explain
bringing
it.
up me not
Explain it,
understanding
Infinity.
P1?
He doesn't know what it's saying. He doesn't know what it's saying. You're asking for an argument. You don't even know what it's saying.
Okay, Archie, can you please unmute him? I apologize. Can you please mute him? Okay, thank you. So he says, by the way, everybody, the claim is that I don't know what it says. If there is a presupposition against the existence of entities that are explanatory, dispensable, as well as ontologically queer, then P1 of A3. I'm sorry. So I can understand what it says, or I apologize, I can read what it says. I do know what it says. Well, that point is disproven.
Was I asking you to stutter through reading it? Or was I asking you to explain it?
Presumption.
Explain it. Explain it, Infinity. Stomach. Explain it.
Sorry, what's the argument?
Explain it. Explain it, Infinity. Don't
Sorry, what's
dodge.
the argument?
Explain it. Explain it, Infinity. Explain
I'm
it.
sorry, what's the argument?
Explain it, Infinity.
I'm sorry, what's the argument?
Explain it.
okay, well, Eric, I think he's saying that, like, or I guess he's asking why he has to even be of understanding of it, and just to like simply request a premise. Like, you can explain why that's like redundant if you want, or if you can like give them another premise. Here.
Yeah, I can explain why it's redundant really quickly. It's actually very easy to, right? Which is, by the way, why I'm asking him to explain it, right? Because if anyone were to understand what it's saying, right, they wouldn't be so retarded as to ask for an argument for that premise, right? Now, notice how what the premise is saying is that if there's a presumption against the existence of entities that are explanatorily dispensable and ontologically queer, right? It's just an instance of an entity, namely, morality in the strict sense, right? That's explanatorily dispensable and ontologically queer. So, of course, if there's a general presumption against the existence of entities that are explanatorily dispensable and ontologically queer, then there will be a presumption against morality in the strict sense, right? Now, of course, you could request the argument that it's explanatorily dispensable and ontologically queer, right? But that's something that's completely detached from giving an argument that establishes the first premise of that argument, right? So that's why I was asking to explain it. It's because if he wasn't retarded, he would be able to understand that the premise is obviously true, right? Such that it's analytic, right? And then when he understood it was analytic, he would realize that it would look retarded for him to explain it, right? So now what I want Infinity to do, right? Since I've already delivered the reasoning, right? Since, he's not going to explain the first premise, explain the reasoning that I just gave for the first premise, fucking moron.
I'm sorry, so please mute him while I'm speaking. So, one, what you did was repeat yourself, and then when you say it's analytically true, Obviously, I'm questioning P1 because I don't grant it being analytically true. Now, if you have some type of unconventional semantics when it comes to P1, that's completely fine. It could be, anyways, niggas, I'm running away. Anyways, you can give some type of idiosyncratic view when it comes to what everything in P1 means. That's irrelevant as fuck, retard. How am I echoing, nigga? Is it because I'm streaming? Hello, do you hear me, Archie?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to ask once again, what's the argument for P1? When you say, oh, you could be questioning this part of P1. Obviously, if I'm questioning P1, there's something I disagree with. You don't know if I disagree with P1 or the presuppositions P1 makes, which are required for P1 to be true. So when you say, well, that wouldn't be relevant to P1 if you question P1, obviously that's just not true, because when you make presuppositions, retard, they're going to be required for P1 to be true. So what's going to be the argument for presuppositions that you're making?
Well, I mean, that was just really well articulated there. So I already explained it, right? You are incapable of repeating it back because you're retarded, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, sorry, mute him, Mods, mute him. Yeah, so the motivation for accepting, you're asking me for the argument for the first premise, moron, right? That's what you've been asking me for, right? Now to explain the argument for the first premise, right, which is, by the way, I'll just paste it right here. Right, so if it's the case that there's a presumption against the existence of entities that are explanatorily dispensable as well as ontologically queer, then P1 of A3, right, if you would just kind of scroll up, right, you would notice that the first premise is just saying, if morality in the strict sense is ontologically queer and morality in the strict sense is explanatorily dispensable, then morality in the strict sense doesn't exist, right? So notice how the first premise is just an instance of the general principle that's stated in the first premise of A3, right? So the general principle that the first premise of A4 states, right, A3 is just merely an instance of that, right, which is why I pointed out that it is the case that he's fundamentally retarded and that he's fundamentally confused on these issues. I'm happy to move to conclusions because holy fucking shit, this was an easy dunk. What he did is he said, oh, what's the argument for the first premise? Thinking that it was some sort of dunk, immediately realizing that I already had the reasoning fucking equipped incredibly easily. And then when I deliver the reasoning, he's incapable of repeating it back. And by the way, that's after him not being able to repeat what the first premise is even fucking saying. There's so many layers of confusion that we're seeing that are forming this cacophony that is me blowing you the fuck out in this conversation. Right, so I just gave the reasoning for the first premise, right? I explained to you why it is the case that the first premise is analytically true, right, with respect to A4, right? So now what I want is for you to give, right, the reasoning that I gave, right, for you to repeat back the reasoning that I offered, right? And I want you to do so without stumbling over yourself, because even when you just read the first premise, you were stumbling over yourself, right? You're a fucking retard, you've been stomped in this conversation. Let's try to get an answer to the question, Infinity.
Yeah, so please mute him. I'm sorry. So one, look, the reason why you jumped to this question, or I apologize, this argument is because you couldn't even respond to the informal justification I gave. So the informal justification I gave is something which seemingly still stands due to your lack of a response. Secondly, by the way, I gave two types of informal justifications that have yet to be responded to. I also gave some type of motivation for my position. So pro-choice just has an established concrete backbone that you have yet to respond to, okay? And everybody's going to realize when they watch the recording that you couldn't respond to the informal justifications that I gave and the formal motivation that I gave, which is why you jump to this shitty ass argument that nobody grants. So I'm going to ask once again, what is the argument for the presuppositions that P1 makes, or in other words, establishes? And if it is the case that the presuppositions have no argument, then seemingly P1 isn't something that is actually true. You repeating and explaining what P1 is doesn't give justification. The explanation is not justification in this case. It's not justification in this context. So I'm going to ask once again, one, what is the justification you have for P1, specifically the presuppositions that P1 makes, which would be, for example, a principle that I don't grant? And then secondly, please listen to this, I don't even grant that the argument is sound. I don't grant that the argument is sound at all. So what's going to be a response to that? And don't just say, oh, you stumbled over yourself. That isn't a response. That isn't justification for what I'm asking for.
Yeah, I mean, I already gave it. I mean, we can conclude.
Okay, yeah, let's conclude. Okay. I'm sorry, you want to conclude off of saying what P1 means? Wait, that's a question for you, Eric. So your justification for P1 is explaining what P1 means. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll explain why you're being retarded in the conclusions. It sounds like you're terrified of ending the debate because your performance has been dog shit. Stunlock, by the way, you're retarded.
That shit was so ass.
Yeah,
anyways, look, so we can conclude real quick. As a quick conclusion, look, I'm sorry, I don't think I was done. Please mute him. Look, as a quick conclusion, he could have responded to the tops of informal justification that I gave, which is why he jumped to this point. He realized that he was losing terribly. Everybody in VC chat agrees that he was losing terribly, which is why I'm winning the fucking polls. I gave informal justification. I gave motivation. Destiny, you have no angle lie. Calm down, bro. You're not code. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I gave informal justification. I even gave motivation. He didn't respond to the intuitive justification. He didn't respond to the seemings that I use when it comes to accounting for situations within society, etc. He didn't respond to any of this. So it is the case that off of my justification, there exists a normative view, and then that normative view motivates, or in other words, justifies, I apologize, my pro-choice stance. So I win a debate. Yay. Now, so after he jumped from my argument because he realized he couldn't defeat it, which there's multiple reasons why you can defeat it. One, you can't defeat this argument. It's just obviously true. Secondly, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He hasn't read anything. And then thirdly, finally, he didn't track it. Even though I repeated it 20 times, he didn't track it a single time, which is why he tried to dodge and jump to this shitty ass argument that he gave, which, one, he didn't justify the soundness. So even if it was the case that he did give justification for P1, which he didn't, by the way, there was not a single level of justification for P1 other than an explanation of what P1 means, which everybody understands P1. I just didn't feel obligated to answer the question, which was the following: what does P1 mean? Because it's irrelevant. It isn't rhetorical. The only person who would find that rhetorical is fucking Yanni, who dated Femboy Meyer for 2 years. Nobody thinks you're rhetorical, Erik, okay? So what you did was give a shitty, lackluster explanation of P1, no justification for P1, and then secondly, even if it was the case, because this is what high tiers do, they give hypotheticals just in case. Even if it was the case that you gave justification for P1, which no, there was no justification, then you didn't give any justification for any other premises that you laid out, which is why they lack soundness. Okay, the reason why they lack soundness, at least seemingly, is because there seems to lack justification. Maybe I have to use a different voice because you can't track it, you don't understand what's going on, okay? So it's just clear that you lost. You're not rhetorical. You got embarrassed today, Erik. I love you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I love you too, Infinity. You know, it was a really fun discussion there. That was a good little back and forth. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty fun. I guess I sort of want to conclude by recapping the debate, you know, as you typically do with conclusions. Yeah, so I guess what happened there is he chose the debate proposition to be the proposition that Infinity's reason for being pro-choice fits the criteria for justification. Right, I asked him for a sound argument that concludes with the proposition, right? He went along and delivered the first premise, right? Then he delivered a troll second and third premise.
You me too, by the way.
For debate. Shout out Hyde Cake Mouth. Love you guys. Wonderful debate.
Sorry guys, I'm back. Yeah, all I was going to say there is, yeah, so I guess what I did is, you know, ask for a sound argument for the debate proposition. You know, we got the first premise, right? The second premise was kind of delivered as a troll, and then we got some, you know, troll second, third, fourth, fifth premises and so on, right? Or, you know, some of them you might not even call premises plausibly, right? Because it would just be something like, you know, let's debate or whatever, right? So yeah, so I guess, you know, with respect to that sort of portion of the debate, I don't think he did particularly well. He kind of kept on dodging the question, right? Apollo and I even extended this very kind of generous offer to him where we would formalize the argument for him, right? And he still sort of ran away from the question, right? So afterwards, right, when I realized that he's just going to get completely stomped, right, as we keep on going down this pathway, right, as he was, right, and that we weren't going to extract anything further from his thick skull, right? What I did is I actually delivered a sound argument that establishes the proposition that it's false that abortion is morally permissible, right? And then he kept on asking arguments for the premises, right? And then eventually we got to A4, right? Which is just saying if there is a presumption against the existence of entities that are explanatorily dispensable as well as ontologically queer, then P1 of A3, right? And then what happened as a result of that, right? I asked him to explain what the first premise is. Why did I do that, right? Well, it's because Infinity is a retard, right? And he's incapable of explaining propositions that he's asking for arguments for, right? So he asks, what's the argument for that? But he doesn't actually know what proposition he's asking for an argument for, right? Which was just kind of a bad look throughout the course of that discussion, right? Or discussion. And then, yeah, I guess a further point to be made there is I actually did deliver the reasoning. He said that all I did was repeat it, which is, you know, why I said that we could conclude. The justification that I gave is that the antecedent of the first premise states something that is a general principle that's instantiated in the first premise of A3. And so if that's right, if that's what the antecedent of the first premise is doing, right, then the conditional will just be true, right? And that's not repeating what the first premise is saying, right? Because the first premise isn't saying that what the you know, P1 of A3 is an instantiation of the principle stated in the antecedent of the first premise of A4, right? So that would just be a bit of a blunder there, right? So yeah, I think that we had a good faith conversation there. I really enjoyed that one. I think that, you know, we you know, started running around in circles for a little bit, and we had a little bit of a spat and a little bit of a battle, but I think that was really fun. Yeah. Have a good one, pal.
you know, after so long, constantly going over the Batman multi-instantiation principle.